Alright then, injuries to key players Rizzo, and even worse, Espo, didn't stop us getting a narrow late winner against Freiburg. Yeah, we robbed them there. But in the second leg, Esposito went down again with another injury. And in the same match, chosen one Condello got himself sent off. Things were stacking up against us, and Freiburg, too strong. Our dreams are over in the Conference League. We still had that slim chance in the Coppa Italia, 4-0 down from the first leg against Atalanta. We huffed and we puffed, but we just could not break them down. Atalanta schooled us there, got a 0-0, semi-finals of the Coppa Italia. With Esposito out for weeks, it was a good job we'd bought Raspadori late in the window, because he stepped up big time. Some vital contributions for him just helped us in the league. In other news, the youth candidates had been given contracts, and 3 of them have turned out to be elite talents. Galanda, Franco Secchi, a winger, and the standout Brunelli. We've got big plans for them later. A bad defeat to Vicenza away from home meant we're clinging on to 4th place, but Atalanta are tight on our heels. Annoyingly, we've lost 7 matches this season, all away from home. It was time for Verona, and Espo was back, and straight away, number 50 for the season. Quite extraordinary what he's done this year. And in the same match, this happened.
I've seen some goals. I'm not sure I've ever seen a better goal this season, for sure. This is one of the best goals I've ever seen.
Seriously, what has he been eating this year? It was time for our last home game of the season, and it's the last game we're playing in the Novara Stadium, the temporary home, because our new stadium will be ready for next season. Fittingly, it was against rivals AC Milan. And I can't lie, I love to see Condello linking up with Yaya for our goal. Another boomer, by the way. But we did succumb to AC Milan, who are really good this season. And we fell away badly at the end of the season. A little bit too much for us. And we ended up finishing 5th as Atalanta were too strong and taking the Champions League spots. We're in the Europa League next season. That might not be a bad thing, you know. This squad is good. It fell away badly at the end of last season. So I'm going to do something a little bit drastic for next season. And it might be a little bit stupid. It's time to do something we don't normally do. A good old-fashioned clear out. And we're going to replace them with a mixture of youth and experience. So firstly, I'm going to take out players that I know won't be with us next season, and there might be quite a few of them. This clutch of players here will all be available for transfer or are going to be out of contract. Next, I'm going to fill the gaps in the squad with some of my youth players. For example, Rossetti, who was one of the elite talents from the season before, I'm going to move him into my main squad, put him on the bench, and I'm going to keep him available for the under-18s while he's there. So the plan is to have him on the bench and him to get game time with us at the same time as the under-18s rather than loan him out when he hits 17. And I'm going to do that with like 2 or 3 players. The rest of the squad, this squad is young. Now if I look at it, the only experience we've really got is Di Marino, who's now 34, and Raspadori, also 34, who we brought in late on. So I'm going to get in the transfer market, and the plan is to bring in 3 or 4 experienced players, mix them with 3 or 4 youth players, and give me a nice rounded squad to back up that first 11. And then this happened. Wow. Barcelona. If we're going to decline Barcelona, we're going to decline everybody, aren't we? So it was time to march straight onto season 11. This is the season where I might hit 500 games in charge of Provicelli.
It's a new dawn for Provicelli this season, as they launch into that brand new 25,000-seat stadium. A sign of how far the club have grown the last decade.
Now all we've got to do is fill it. Remember that clear out I said? Well, I sold 18.75 million worth of players and released a load as well. And oh yeah, to fill that stadium.
Are you ready?
How about Lorenzo Lucha up front? With backup from Victor Osimhen. And a little sprinkle of Rafa Leao as well. Now this is a big turn for us because normally we're just all about building the club for youth and what have you, but it's a bit of a mixture because we've got these veterans in, these icons in, but if you look at the squad a bit closer, I have brought up those development players as well. So the starting lineup will look like that. You've got the chosen ones down the spine of the team and you've got the 2 lads up front out wide. However, if you look closer at the bench here, you'll see the bench is wild. It's a combination of icons and youth. You've got Luca Rossetti there, and Rossetti, believe it or not, has already played 4 matches. He started 2 matches, one in the Europa League, one in Serie A, and a couple of bench performances as well. My reserve backup keeper is the 16-year-old Della Vale. He will be the future goalkeeper, but he's already in the team. And I brought him off the bench in the Europa League when we were cruising. So also on the bench, we've got a great bench now. We've got Luca, Raspadori, Rafa Leao and Azim Hen. And Jonathan David can't get a kick either. Season started pretty steady. Atalanta are now borderline my Italian Aston Villa where they keep beating us, but the other games we've looked good against Bologna, Fiorentina and a frustrating draw against Sampdoria, but we have just won 8-0 in the Europa League, and in this one I allowed myself to play a load of players and rested some chosen ones. And I know what you're thinking, how the hell do you get a team that can enable you to play Lucha, Esposito, Rafa Leao and Azim Hen? Well, the formation for this Europa League game looked like that. So we're basically playing one holding midfielder in this one. There's Rafa Leao supplying Lucha. Espo got a penalty. Massive threat from corners now because we've got Esposito, Lucha. There's Rafa Leao again. Now I know what you're thinking, pretty mad tactic, right? Only one in central midfield, but we've got 2 options for that. The first option is we have Ramirez as an inverted wing back and he tucks inside. Second half in this one, I use one of the centre backs. You can see there's only 2 of them back there, Alvarez and Cambuala. The third, Cavari, who's a youth player, played him as libero, so he sits next to the central midfielder like that, which then enables us to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players going forward. I mean, it's absolute carnage going forward. What it does mean now is we've got iconic short-term impact subs, because if you look at someone like Azim Hen, 3 games off the bench so far, obviously his mentals are still elite and his technicals are still there. If you look at his physicals, the stamina's completely gone. So little short-term bursts from players like him, ideal. It's a new approach this season because we're going to stick with the 5-2-3, but then we do have this version as well. Either that guy pops in there or you switch him to a normal inverted wing back and we stick in a libero to jump into central midfield. Interesting times. There are a couple of other players we brought in to help out the squad. Terzic is a really good experienced wing back to back up Parejo, and then you've got Willy Cambala, formerly of Manchester United, as another centre back option. When we're playing 3 centre backs, we do need them. And that other youngster was Frank Cavari, who we bought in last season. He's only 18, 6'2", can play anywhere across the back 3. He's probably going to get more games than he thinks this season. So very early days, we're sitting in 9th. The media prediction is pretty stable at 9th as well. So they're not expecting much, 50-1. But I think we could surprise a few teams this season, especially with our new Galacticos. And hopefully we can fill this.